What's up guys, Jonathan here. Today I have the pleasure of doing a tech review of a USB microphone, and I'm really excited about this because few things are more annoying to me than poor video or poor audio, and especially with all of the virtual meetings we've been doing recently, I swear I've been living like in a Zoom alternate reality. But with all of the Zoom calls and virtual meetings and everything we've been doing, I feel like we really owe it to ourselves to upgrade the production level and the professionalism and overall the quality of the audio and video that we are communicating through. So today we're going to be doing the tech review. This is going to be a USB microphone review of the Fifine K678. So without further ado, let's roll that intro and get to the review. All right guys, so in full disclosure, Fifine did send me this microphone and asked me to review it on my channel. I've reviewed other things before, and I'm actually starting to review some of the other mics that I use for my podcast and some of the things that we use for my media company, Aymin Media Group, but that in no way is going to affect the genuineness of this at all. I'm definitely interested to look at it. I watched some other reviews on this microphone and I noticed some pretty substantial differences. I saw a lot of comparisons to the Blue Yeti, the Nano, and some other microphones, and I'm basically not going to be doing a comparison as much as I'm just going to be doing a review of the actual microphone itself and just talk about currently. We're filming this here in August, mid-August, and so I basically want to just take a look at the actual mic itself, build quality, some of the packaging, and basically just do a little bit of an unboxing and just kind of show you guys how it comes, do a little bit of an audio test to see a bit about this mic. I think this is a fantastic mic for you if you're looking to do a basic upgrade of your audio at home. I do a podcast, I run a podcast, I actually set up podcast rooms. Next week, I'm going to set up a podcast room for the local city here. And really, I think it's important for you to realize that there are so many different mics out there for so many different applications. And it's easy to get overwhelmed with all the information out there, whether they're XLR mics, USB mics, dynamic mics, condenser mics, all the different polar patterns, all of the different things that come into play when thinking about creating content or even just upping the professionalism and quality of audio or video. So don't get frustrated, don't get overwhelmed. Just watch a couple of videos and I'll try to make this as simple and straightforward as possible so that it's not a total informational overload. So getting right into this. This is the box that it comes in, and it's a great build on the box, kind of cool box if you're into packaging. Once you open this up, I've already taken the mic out, but once you open it up, they definitely did a fantastic job with the padding and everything, the packaging that they did for the microphone itself. So it feels super, super high quality. One of the things that I saw in some of the other videos that it got reviewed on, maybe in pre-production before it was even sent out, was that it was not super safe feeling inside the actual box, and the packaging needed to be upgraded. It seems like they've definitely listened to the folks that have done those reviews. The packaging feels really, really solid. Fantastic job, really fantastic job with the packaging. It came with some cords, came with this USB cord that goes ahead and plugs in. I'm going to be using a dongle to plug this into my MacBook Pro. It's a 2017 and it only just has those little USB-C connectors, and so I have to use an adapter to be able to connect up my this USB mic into here. So that's something good to know if you are planning on doing that. You have a Mac and you want to connect up this USB mic, you are going to have to get a dongle. Let's get right to looking at the actual mic itself. So here is the mic, and really solid build quality. I'm really happy with how this feels in my hand. Pretty heavy duty, and the stand that it comes on has these little rubber feet, so it goes really nicely. I like the all black, kind of this matte black coating that it has on it, and has the mesh top, has these little screws on the side that actually help secure it in place. can loosen them if you want to take it in different directions. But overall, the build quality is really, really fantastic. I can definitely see how people would compare it to the Nano by Blue. I think it is very, very comparable, actually, just by looking at it here. But a couple different dials, 2 different dials on the front side. You're gonna have the mic volume control right here, and then your headphone control right there. And then on the back, this is a mute button. Now that can be especially handy if you have kids at home, pets, whatever, and you're doing these Zoom calls and you just need to mute yourself for a second. Obviously you can mute yourself on Zoom or whatever other platform you're using, but I definitely think it's handy to have that little on off or mute unmute switch right there. So that's it for the build quality. It is a condenser microphone. I'm not going to go too deep into condenser versus dynamic microphones or into the polar patterns, but I will pop something up on the screen right now. It is have a cardioid polar pattern. So you'll kind of be able to see the shape, the overall shape. That's just the voice pickup. That is how it's going to be picking up your voice or the noise around it. Now, typically I find that condenser microphones are a little bit more sensitive to the noise in your environment, the ambient noise, than dynamic microphones. Also, dynamic microphones have more of that kind of broadcast sound that you'd hear. And certainly the mics that we are familiar with seeing, maybe on the Joe Rogan show, like the Shure SM7B. That's that one that's, pretty unmistakable is kind of the standard. Those mics definitely are more geared towards podcasts. And so I think when you look at a mic like this, you have to not compare it to that. This is, at the time that I'm reviewing it, is about $75. So from my understanding from some of the other reviews that I've seen, the mic price has gone up substantially because of coronavirus. So kind of something to think about, but still at $75, it's an incredible price when compared to some of these other mics I'm mentioning that are $200, $300, $400. So again, for the price, this is pretty impressive. I'm really, really liking it so far. I want to plug it in here in just a moment and do a little sound test. But one of the other things that I want to mention is I'm noticing that this stand, I'm not seeing anything like a shock mount. I don't know if there's a pop filter. The thing to consider about some of these mics are if you use any of these desktop stands and you're bumping, banging, you have a coffee cup or something like that, you're going to drink out of, you're going to set it down. A lot of times these stands are going to pick up a lot of that noise, and it's really going to wreak havoc on the audio quality, which is what we're going for here, right? So something to think about. I did take a look. There does look like there's a 1/4 inch thread on the back here, and that's actually right at the back. You can take a look right there and see there's actually a couple of different things back there. There's a headphone jack, which is very nice, the USB port, and then there's that 1/4 inch jack. And that's nice because it looks like they also took some feedback, because some of the reviews that I saw, it only looked like there were a couple different options for mounting these to a shock mount, but it looks like they've actually added this and you can put it directly onto the little attachment they gave me. So I have a boom arm right here, which is this guy. It's like one of these things. You may have seen them before in different podcasts. And one of the pieces that came with it is this handy little attachment piece right there. So that actually seems like plugs in right to the end. You can screw it onto the boom arm and then attach it directly to this arm. So that is, it looks like it just, looks like it attaches right there. So that's really cool. It seems like they definitely took feedback, and that's always nice to see a company taking feedback and changing things to actually respect that feedback, because ultimately it's nice to know that you're being listened to. So anyway, that's kind of cool. That is great. The other thing I would recommend is some sort of pop filter. I do have one right here. You can get them on Amazon or wherever, but these guys are amazing. They help with help reducing plosives. So like P's and S's, when you enunciate your words, if there's any sort of pop at all, that kind of reduces those and just gives you a little bit more clarity. So I would highly recommend using shock mounts, pop filters, things like that to increase the audio. I think a lot of times you can take a cheaper mic and make it sound a lot more expensive when you're using some other things in collaboration. Obviously that does drive up the price, but something to think about. Anyway, let's get to an audio test. For this, I wanted to do something a little interesting. I actually wanted to take it into Zoom. So I'm gonna switch. We're gonna now basically be on a Zoom call together, and you're gonna be hearing the quality of this mic through my actual computer, through Zoom. And I'm gonna be switching back and forth between the onboard microphone and Zoom here, and this microphone. So anyway, let's get into it. This is the Fifine K678. All right, guys, welcome into my computer. It's so good seeing you in another Zoom meeting. Just kidding. None of us need another Zoom meeting in our lives. However, if you're going to be on one and you need better audio, I am excited to be reviewing this. So let's continue taking a look. Again, this is the Fifine K678. You can see a little bit more of the build quality here. I don't have it plugged in yet. I'm just kind of giving you guys a 360 here of the actual mic itself. I like this tabletop stand, but I would definitely recommend, like I mentioned earlier, pop filters, just a boom arm. Definitely getting it off of your actual desk is gonna help so much. Avoid, the clanging of a coffee cup or anything like that will really disrupt the audio quality, especially because these mics are gonna be a lot more sensitive and gonna pick up that noise, specifically for the condenser mics as well. So I'm excited about this mute button. Let's go ahead and get everything connected. And if you can take a look here, we are going to be plugging right in on the bottom there. And I'm going to get both my headphones plugged in and this USB port. So I'm using a dongle again because I'm using a MacBook. Different computers are gonna go different ways, whether you're using a desktop or a laptop. I know for some of the newer Macs they have, or MacBooks, they have just the USB-C port, so you do have to get those dongles, unfortunately, but that's the way I'm gonna connect in. So just something for you to think about if you wanna get this and kind of plug and play. This one is going right in the back here. And 3, 2, 1. All right, so looks like my audio interface switched over. Got the mute button there on the back. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my headphones and see what we have as far as audio goes. All right, whoa, that is definitely better. Well, this is pretty cool. Not bad for a $75 mic. Build quality, packaging. I'm digging it. You can tell here the polar pattern is definitely a cardioid polar pattern. If you looked at the diagram before, I can pull it up again, but you'll see kind of the shape. This is definitely how this microphone is picking up my voice. So you can see how when the mic's turned around like this, you're not hearing me very clearly. And as it gets closer to my voice and in that polar pattern, you're definitely going to pick up a lot more. So this is actually the first cardioid pattern mic that I have, and the first condenser mic that I'm planning on using a little bit more regularly. I can definitely see why people would compare this to the Nano or the Blue. I've actually shied away from a lot of those Blue mics, the Yeti and the Nano, just because I've preferred to just use dynamic mics for the most part, and they are very, very similar to this mic. So, but you're going to get the price tag with those. And so for those, the Nano is going to run you about $100. The Blue Yeti is going to run you about $150 or so. And so this at $75 is really fantastic. I think one of the things is with audio, like I was saying in the beginning, it's so easy to look at all of the different options, and depending on what you're using it for, I think that it is good to just write down the list of what you're expecting out of the mic, what you want to be using it for, and then not overthink it. Because a lot of these mics are going to be very, very, very similar. And for this, I've seen on some of the other reviews when people were actually comparing them to the Blue Yeti or to the Nano or to some of these other mics, the similarities were so close. When you look at a mic that's $50 more or whatever, you're not getting that much more for your money. So this is an incredible mic though. I'm really, really impressed with this. I'm impressed with how fast it came when the company sent it over for the review. I am impressed with the build quality. Again, I think I would end up sticking it on that boom arm. But this is great. Typically I use the ATR 2100. It's a mic by Audio Technica. It is a USB mic as well. And I just use that for my podcast because I want that higher production quality. But I think this one actually might take over from that one. The audio's crisp. I like the controls. I think it's a fantastic little mic for a basic tabletop desk setup is my verdict. That's what I'm going with. And at $75, you can't beat that price point at all to increase your production value this much. So anyway, good job, guys and gals over at Fifine. I think this is awesome. I would definitely recommend it for this application. I think if you're looking for something a little bit more complicated and higher end, and again, if you're looking for something that you can take on the road, if it's a mobile podcast setup, if you're actually setting up a podcast room, I would definitely, I think, invest in a bit more expensive gear. But for the price, for what you're getting this for, if you're getting this for Zoom calls and for some of those things, even for streaming, any gaming stuff, or if you're just going to be doing something live on Facebook or YouTube, I think this is a fantastic choice again for the price. So good job. And I would recommend this. So awesome. Well, let me know. I would love to see you hear from any of you guys if you actually end up purchasing this mic, what you think about it, how you are actually using it. So let me know in the comments. And I'd love to hear kind of your experience with it. If you would like to see more reviews like this one, we're going to get into deeper with some of the other mics that I actually use for my podcast and for the podcast rooms that I set up. So if you would like to see some of that, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and we will get to those reviews very, very soon. So thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.